Welcome to Mia, the Passion News Show. My very special guest this week is Kirk Nielsen. Welcome, Kirk.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. Kirk is an awakening coach, an author, a speaker, a teacher. He wrote these 3 books called The Oneness of Us, and he'll explain more about the process, but there is about who I am, about relationships, and about wealth, money, abundance, that type of thing.
Those are the 3 subjects, right?
Right, exactly. So will you share, before we get into your books, can you share how you, because part of this whole process of sharing with people is to let them know that they can accomplish what the guests that I bring, that they can have faith and belief that they can move into any realm that they choose. So share a little bit of your background story, and then up to your book writing, because that's your book is what really launched you, correct?
Yes, yeah, in this particular avenue that I'm
Arena.
in right now.
Right, exactly. We're also multifaceted.
Yeah, so yeah, I like what you said there about the idea that anybody can really do anything that they want to do.
Yes.
You know, to a large extent. I mean, well, to no limits, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, on the book thing though, the way that I wrote my books is something that a lot of people have been very interested in. They came to me in an ask, listen, write process, where rather than writing them out of my mind, I was writing them, well, kind of like from my higher self or from my spiritual guidance,
Right.
which I would just write a question and things would come into my mind that were even beyond anything I'd ever thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. That is.
Yeah. So, how far do you want me to go back in terms of my...
As far as you like. You can go back to your birth. If it's relevant to your growth.
Okay. I was born in Roosevelt, Utah, and it was about 2 hours outside of Salt Lake City, Utah, and most of Utah, as you may know, is Mormon. So I was raised Mormon, and actually went on a Mormon mission at 19, and then at 21. The thing I learned on my mission, it was really interesting. You know, normally you go out on a mission and you want to, you know, the Mormon church would want you to have people join the church, right?
Right.
In this case, I went out and found all these lovely people, just beautiful people in all different faiths and religions. And I'm like thinking, well, gee, they don't really need to like join the Mormon church to be connected.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're already connected. Hold on here. Everybody's connected. And that was my, you know, big epiphany in going out into the world like that.
Isn't that amazing? Because when we're raised religious and strictly religious, and then to have that more or less like a breakaway to spirituality, it's unbelievable. That's when you pop, I think.
Yeah. It's like, okay, this isn't, you know, what I've been fed, you know, taught, raised on, isn't necessarily the way that it is.
Right.
And, you know, there's lesson number 1. The beliefs that, you know, we have quite often aren't our beliefs. They've been given to us as though, hey, adopt these, but that doesn't mean they're ours. And the trick here, and this is what I would advise everyone, is to find who you are and live who you are, not who you've been told to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was my big thing is to learn that that lesson. It's like, okay, I can let I've been told and be who I want to be.
Right.
Anyway, I when I got back from my mission, I decided not to pursue just that Mormon way of thinking anymore, and I opened up to all kinds of philosophies. I had to do a lot of letting go of ingrained beliefs, which was a huge process, but I got very good at that. And I would let go of them, and then I would do what works for me. And it didn't matter what other people said. It would be like I would test it and say, well, that doesn't feel good to me, and I wouldn't do it if it didn't work for me. And then I would do what does, even if no one agreed with it.
Right.
So I highly recommend that for everybody.
Wonderful.
And in fact, I think the whole thing is when I say the whole thing, living life is a very individual process.
Mm-hmm. It is. It absolutely is.
Life is a complete unique experience. Mm-hmm. So nobody's having your life.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Experiencing is completely, really different than another person, even though they may be standing in the exact same spot as you. Mm-hmm. They'll experience something entirely different. Does that answer your question?
Well, I do agree with that. But I think until you get to that point where you can trust and decipher and have already pushed away the because there are thoughts that go around that I found in my experience as I was growing that were not as divine, not as higher self. They were more negative thoughts, and so that was not the divine thought. That was something else. So
Good point.
Push away that aspect and to listen to what truly is. Ask yourself, as you're learning, ask yourself, where is this coming from?
Good
Does
point.
this sound like this would be a divine, a God idea? And then if the answer comes to no, then you know that it's not. Right?
Thank you. And that leads me to the next part of this,
yes.
which was when I would then go to class with my, higher guide, I would set the stage as though that's what I was doing. I would prepare myself and move into a space where I was listening and paying attention to the difference between what you say is your own, like, say, physical mind versus your higher mind.
Right.
And I was very much into the state of, okay, I'm gonna, but it was really interesting because so I would sit down and I would take a pad and a pencil and I would write a question. Mm-hmm. That would come from my physical mind, kind of where I am,
right,
in my personal life.
Yes.
But then this still small voice or this idea would come from within inside me, bubble right up in an answer to that. Mm-hmm. So it was almost like two people were in me. And I think everyone has this experience, yes. Like, the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. But it's pretty clear that what I would say is one of it's the physical mind, literally the programming that's in your brain that's been given to you, mm-hmm. and who you are as, a higher being. Right. And to distinguish between those two, you have to first say, well, there is two things going on there. Mm-hmm. Then you have to look for it and listen for it. And then do what it says. I mean, because you keep rejecting it, it doesn't. Right. It doesn't have a very loud voice if you're not giving it a space.
Right. It won't come to fruition.
Right. You can be saying stuff all the time. If you never do it, then it's like you never hear it. It's like, are you not hearing it, or are you just not following?
Right.
It was different. Right. So anyway, I would write a question, and at the start it would be just a few sentences would come out. But within maybe a week or so of doing this every day, I got to the point where I would write a question, and it would like the floodgates would open, and I would write 1 page, 2, 3, all the way up sometimes to 6 pages off one question, and I would just be writing just sentence after sentence. And the way that it comes to me isn't like words, like one at a time. Right. It was like ideas, and then I would say it in my own language. So it has Kirk's personality,
right?
But the idea is like a universal idea,
mm-hmm. Right.
So that's how my books came, and at the time I had probably stacked this high of handwritten notebooks. I didn't even know it was a book at the time. I thought I was just going to class with my spiritual guide. When I got done, I had a stack of writing, and I'm like, well, this is really good stuff. And I said, when do I start on my books? And they go, these are your books. Organize them and publish them.
Right. Very cool.
That's what came from the books. And then when I did, it was really interesting doing the organizational part, because I would just ask whatever question was that was relevant for that day facing me in my own personal life.
Right.
And it would be about money, and it would be about relationships, and it would be about my purpose. Why am I here? Why are things happening like this?
Right. And that is amazing, because without, doing that research, we don't know who we are. So you grew yourself while you were writing your book.
Yeah, and the thing is, well, who am I? That question right there, who am I, is the question of all questions.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That question will lead you forever if you ask it every day, every moment. Well, who am I in this moment, and why am I, and what does it mean that I am being who I am? As soon as we say, I am this, then you've cut off the question. You've cut yourself off from being more or expanding. Now you're very focused into just one kind of experience coming back at you. If you want to have a different experience in your life, then you're going to have to say, well, I don't know who I am. Ask. And every time you ask, be prepared, because it'll always come back more than what you think you are.
Right. I love that.
That's been my experience, especially recently, is it anymore, who I am getting back as an answer when I ask the question is staggering. It's earth-shattering. It's Kirk-shattering.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's like,
yeah,
holy cow, this is big.
Right. And we have to understand that when that does come to us, that we have to own it, because we're already in that position to accept it. We're already that person.
Yeah, and that's back to the part of it.
Right, right.
Being delivered to you, are you going to take it? And you can argue with yourself then. You can say, I'm not that. I'm this small.
Right.
And then the you inside of you says, well, no, you're more than that.
Right.
No. And you can have this argument as long as you want.
Right, but if you are in total alignment and balance, then you're going to know that you're listening to the divine, and you're not even going to, after a while, question those. You're just going to move forward and do it. This is my purpose. This is who I am. And I know the word purpose has been so overused in the last couple years. Passion, me being a passion person, I always hear passion, purpose, prosperity, and I'm like, I'm so sick of those P words, It's like, but in this case, the purpose is really true, because it's who we are inherently.
Well, and I love what you're saying about the purpose, because think about it. Purpose is asking that question. What is your purpose? To ask, who am I? To actually be more of who you are. To actually fully express. If someone said to me, Kirk, how do I find my purpose? I go, well, your purpose is the same as everybody's purpose, which is to be you, the way we've been talking, coming from within inside of yourself, as much as you possibly can be. Fully express you. In my case, Kirk. Fully express Kirk in every way that Kirk can be. And then every person the same. And guess what? Everyone's going to be uniquely different. They're going to be like a fingerprint or a puzzle piece. And only that piece will fit into that puzzle, and there is no other you except you. So that's why you've got to be it.
Right. Exactly.
Because otherwise the puzzle will look kind of funny. Right?
Exactly. It's funny, because I used to always think that I was looking for my missing piece, my puzzle piece, and I used to use that terminology in a mate, I'm looking for my puzzle piece. It just cracks me up that you said that, because truly I need to be the complete puzzle in order to find another complete puzzle.
Well, then the pieces that go next to you will fit into place.
Exactly.
But if you're not your puzzle piece, then that piece won't fit you. It's like, oh my God, I can't find my guy. Well, it's because you're not being your own puzzle piece.
Yes. That's great.
That's how that went.
Good. So the first one's on knowing yourself, the second one's on relationships, and the third one's on money and wealth.
Right.
Okay.
So relationships. So we've talked a little bit about who am I, and that would be like your purpose, your path. How do you change who you are? And we talked about those things, and really that's what it boils down to. I do want to say one thing on that before we leave that point, and that is to know yourself, follow your excitement, follow your bliss, your passion, and
exactly.
One thing that's like and that's every moment of the day. It's like, what do I want to do right now? I want to do this. Well, then do that.
Right.
And keep doing that always, and then that'll lead you to more and more of you. That's really how you fulfill your purpose as your puzzle piece.
And you're living in your moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you do what other people say, and you do what your mind says, because now other people are actually talking in your mind because you got fed all this stuff as a kid, and, ancestrally and through all the other lives.
Yes.
And if you listen to all that chatter, then you're not you.
Right.
Now you would say, no, that is me. And this is the key point. That isn't you.
Right.
Chatter.
Right.
Whoops. I pulled out my. You are your excitement.
Right.
You are that bliss inside of you, that joy.
What's funny is my definition for passion core is joyful bliss, enthusiasm, and confidence. That's what your passion core is. And it's so funny because the way you're speaking is exactly what my company has been for the last several years as well. And it's nice because I've never heard anybody say your joy, your bliss, your passion,
That's who you are.
It is who we are. It's who everyone is. If they want to be, and I mean capital B, capital E, if they want to be and express, that is who we are. And people say, oh, I'm not passionate, I'm not this, I'm not that. And passion has an overworked term as well. But when we think of it as the excitement of a child, like you and I were like bantering back and forth here, and we're quite animated.
Right. We're very excited.
Yes, exactly. Because we love this conversation, and we love the concept, and we understand it. So, like you said, if we're living each moment in our passion, and what can we be? We're only that true person. And that's the beauty of creating an amazing lifestyle, is to be in the moment of knowing exactly who you are, where you're headed, so your passion, your purpose will bring you your prosperity. Okay, I bring back those terms. I'll allow them in.
They may have been twisted a little bit, but let's realign them with what they really are, you know?
Exactly.
And it's really cool because when you are talking to a person and they, like you said, well, I don't know my passion, and it's just like, well, that's because you're using your mind and not your heart.
Right.
You know? So if you will just move, and even in a conversation with somebody, they start talking to me, and I get like, it's like a daze, and I'm like, okay, move your mind aside, let me feel your passion.
Drop down into your heart, exactly, yes.
And so they'll tell me their story from their mind, and then I'll be like, thank you. Now, what are you excited about?
Yeah.
What turns you on, really makes you want to get up?
How do you feel? Right.
I haven't thought about that. And I go, well, that's who I want to talk to because that's you. You've been telling me who you've been told you are.
Right.
I want to talk to you, and who you are is what you're excited about. Now we'll have a conversation.
Right. To get out of the programming, and I've recently been calling it the patterning of how we're raised, our environment. It's not necessarily our parents. We could come from the most amazing upbringing, but it's there's still space to be cleared out. So. Yeah.
So, okay, anyway, then on to relationships. The relationships is really interesting part of it, and I think that everybody would agree that relationships are a huge part of their life. As adults, we want to be in relationships.
Right.
And usually we want to be in intimate relationships, but we've been taught that there's this one person out there, for you. And as we've already alluded to, the person that's out there for you is you.
Right.
It's not another person.
Right.
Again, you be the puzzle piece, and there will be, guess what, not necessarily even one puzzle piece that fits next to you, but there might be 4 or 6 or 8, and they all have a little piece that fits into you. There might be one that is your intimate partner, but there might be 2 more that add something else to your life.
Right.
So this idea of any limits about what that looks like, about what fits you, I think is a very limiting idea. And that's coming from your head. If you just let your heart go and always follow your heart, again, it won't maybe look too pretty to the outside world. Well, I have this guy, and I like him for this. And then I have this guy, and we actually just like to talk. And I have this guy, so you have different, and I have this girlfriend, and I have that girlfriend, and I have this business associate. So our lives become...
Well, that is life.
That's life.
And when you're a loving person, and you've learned how to receive and not just to give, then you're in balance.
Yeah, but the point is to not use your mind to limit any of it.
Well, right, but people who are watching, we don't want them to get all confused and think, because the thing is that, and that's probably why they should read that book, because until they realize the total concept of what true love is, and it starts within ourselves. We can expand out. I never thought we could. When I was married, I thought, you can only love one person. Well, no. I now believe that Mia, as a woman, should have a harem. I don't think I've ever said that on a show before. Because I can totally give and rock for a long time. But my partner
and who made up the rules that said you can't have it?
Well, in my past lives, I have.
Oh.
So I'm still feeling, I'm more in tune with that divine creature. So, anyways.
The way I like to look at relationships, I can boil down relationships to a couple of sentences. Really, one sentence is the same idea, and that is that when it comes to relationships, be excited for the other person to be all that they can be. And then, of course, in turn, allow yourself to be all that you can be, or be excited to be all that you are being.
Right.
So that's the end of relationships entirely. So like somebody wants to be in a relationship with me and we have talk. So what are your ideas on relationships, Kirk? And I say, well, basically what I'm going to do with you is check in with you about what's the most exciting thing you can even imagine and support you in that. Mm-hmm. Unconditionally. That means if you want to go with your girlfriends for the weekend to do this, I support you. That means if you want to go out with a guy and do that, I support you unconditionally. Not only support you, I'm excited about that because I want you to be you full out 100%. And I have no restrictions on you whatsoever.
See, now that kind of stuff twists my mind around. I know that in my relationship that I'm in now, my partner feels that way, but there still has to be, the intimacy can only be between each other.
Well, we're still working at this, and I mean, we're working along,
Right.
Because sex is the big factor that we've all made up about being very limited about. But, as you do your work on it, you can become more unlimited about that. You don't have to, and you can choose not to. It's all very personal.
Of course.
My question is always, what excites you?
Right.
And if you're sitting there at the table with your guy and you look across the room and the other guy is exciting you, what am I going to say? Follow your excitement.
Interesting.
Ouch! See, I was married for 25 years, and I turned off that part of myself. I wouldn't look at any other women because I knew that if I did, I would be excited by them. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, and I want to be committed to my relationship. So I was committed to a relationship rather than to myself. Mm-hmm. I will never be committed to anyone but me. Mm-hmm. And anybody who wants me to be something other than that, I don't want to really be in a relationship with them because they don't want me to be me. Mm-hmm. Now here's what's interesting. If that other person's all gung-ho for me to be me and were to support me, get up and go talk to her if you really want to. And not in a negative way, but in like a way where your girlfriend would tell you to do it. You know how like if you're with your girlfriend, and you like, she'd be like, yeah, go talk to her. Right?
I have some male-female married couples who believe the same thing.
Well, there you go. Is that if you do, probably not a lot's going to happen with that. Mm-hmm. But let the energy flow, and basically you'll probably come back to your partner because they were excited to support you, and that person probably, has their issues or whatever, and and often be, as suited for you as who you're with. Mm-hmm. In other words, it'll all work out, and if you trust that it'll all work out, it will work out. Mm-hmm. If you allow them to really love you and you really love them, you don't ever have to worry about them straying. If I'm supporting someone 100% and they want to go be with somebody else, I want them to go be with somebody else. Mm-hmm. But I'll say this, if they are digging me and I'm like supporting them that heavily, they're probably going to keep digging me even more.
Right. Probably.
So the thing works quite well.
Right. It's very interesting, but what you're talking about is love without boundaries. And that's...
Love is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And I'm saying that love is not sex.
Right.
I'm putting those two things together. See, we get all confused about love is sex, and no.
Of course we do.
And love is love,
Right.
And I love everybody. Mm-hmm. Love myself. Mm-hmm. Unconditionally. So this isn't just with my partner that I'm being supportive and excited.
Right. That's who you are, and so that's what you're sharing to the world. Yes.
And the thing is the more that I do it with other people, the more I give myself permission to love myself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Back and forth, and I just keep loving myself more and more, and that makes me want to love other people more and more, and then love grows.
Right.
In everyone. Mm-hmm. Just like I'm overflowing in it. And guess what happens? All the people share this love back to me because I'm that way to them.
Right. Now, share with me, because now my mind's moving even more, and share with me your oneness communities, or your concept for your oneness communities.
Well, it plays off of this thing.
I know it does. I'm a smart girl.
So the idea is this this would be the foundational idea for our society, our civilization as a world. Would be where we support each other, where we're excited for each other to be the most that we can be. And on my events that I put on in the Oneness of Us event, they're truly geared to do exactly that. We have exercises where people, I have them write down on a piece of paper the thing that they're most excited about in their life, and fold it up and put it in a box with all the other papers of all the other attendees, and draw them out as a raffle. So other people are out other people's gifts. You know, because we were like, oh, I'm going to go bring a candle. And I go, no. This is inside of you. This is
right.
Your gift, because that's the most valuable thing that exists.
Right.
And see, people don't know this. They're like, I don't have any value. And so the whole thing is structured to make them realize you have tremendous value.
Right.
And they're like, well, who would want to, like, well, what I really enjoy doing, what really excites me is cooking. And I then cook them a dinner. Or what really excites me is hiking. Or what really excites me is sewing or painting or working on computers. Well, then give that away. Give the excitement away. And I assure you, whoever is like, you know, receiving that gift will feel your excitement, and it will spark their excitement on, because you're turned on doing what you love to do.
And the energy flows so that that gift will find its right partner.
Synchronistically, yes.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
You say, Kirk, I got the wrong gift.
How dare they?
And I'm like, no, it's specially designed for you.
Right. I got the wrong gift.
You're the thing that you were given, you know.
Right.
You'll have all kinds of amazing breakthroughs if you'll go and do that thing that you are existing doing.
Right. Exactly. And it's our growth. It's what we need most. Yeah.
The other part of that is it creates a new economy, because then if we have everyone in the economy being excited what everybody else is doing, supporting everybody else in doing that, loving everybody else doing that, so that makes us love ourselves, because then we have to be our excitement and be our joy and our passion.
Right.
So really encourage it. Everyone's like, I'm not listening to your story. Looking for everyone else's heart. You know?
Right.
So then the idea is it creates an economy, because then they start going, you know, Julie over there, she's really good at that. You know, Sam, he's really good at this. And you start knowing, and then synchronistically you get attracted to who you the resources you need, the people to be in your life. And now you're having an economy based on people, not on things.
Right. I think that's really cool. I was a participant in one of those gift-giving things, and I was working on my business a couple years ago and really needed a computer person. But that wasn't in my thought, and that's what the gift that I drew. And the gift that I gave was counseling and relationships. And so the person that drew it had already spoken to me about really wanting to work with me, with she and her husband. She was a minister in the Lutheran Church or something, whatever exactly it is, in the prison, so I guess a chaplain. And so, but she had to be all hush-hush about everything. So it was very interesting. She drew mine, and I drew what I needed. And it's strange how that just amazingly works like that. It's the energy just, went to its right places.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, and then you know, and actually I'm just going to do this in my next event for a twist, is I'm going to have people draw what they draw, but I'm going to give them the opportunity to exchange it. And if they want to keep it, they can keep it, but they can also go, you know what, I would like to exchange this, and then attract themselves to the person that has the gift that shares, and then we're going to play with it that way. So,
I see.
You know, we've played with it with the way of like, take what you get. Now we're going to play with the way of like, okay, now trade what you get. And see what happens there. And then what I want to have people experience is this idea of, okay, well, let's make up some money, right? You know, maybe we'll do this at the next event, but okay, write down 5 things, that you have that are valuable. No, that is your excitement, because sometimes you don't realize they're valuable.
Right.
People don't realize, well, I love to go horseback riding. How can someone pay me for that? I don't know, but it could be extremely valuable. You could take I didn't get paid for it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so have people write down and then trade it, and then raise and get exactly what they need to trade who they are, other people's resources, and get it back. So it's like a beginning of a new economy.
I like that. That's wonderful. We're almost
moneyless economy where we basically are just being loving
right.
ourselves, trading who we are.
Right, exactly. We're almost out of time, so do share with us. Your contact information will be on the credits, but do share with us briefly your upcoming event.
It's in Los Angeles on September 19th, which is next Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And anybody who's in LA, you're welcome to come. Go to my website, onenessofus.com, mm-hmm. and it has all the information there. We also have an upcoming event in Salt Lake City, which is on September 27th. Mm-hmm. We're having a retreat in Park City, Utah, where they have the Sundance Film Festival.
Right.
And it's a 3-day retreat there.
Wonderful.
Through the 30th. And then we are having one in Santa Barbara, Oneness of Us event on October 8th, and then in San Diego on October 7th, and then October 14th is the San Diego, and then we have one in Phoenix coming up as well. So.
Oh, wonderful. So people can find that all on the website. Good. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Kirk, for joining us and for sharing your heart and not being in your head.
I don't think we were in our head. Were we in our head?
We weren't in our head too much. We were free-flowing.
So if you're excited, you're not in your head.
Exactly. So thank you again for joining us.